Imagine walking into a car dealership. You are greeted by a friendly salesman who offers you a free cup of coffee. He asks you about your weekend, compliments your taste in cars, and then shows you a vehicle. He tells you he needs to check with his manager, walks away, and comes back 10 minutes later saying the manager won't approve the price. He looks disappointed but then says, "Tell you what, I'll go back and see if I can get them to throw in a free set of floor mats and an extended warranty." You feel a strange sense of relief and obligation, and you end up buying the car. You walk out feeling like you won, but you actually paid more than you intended. What just happened? You were not just sold a car, you were subjected to a highly calculated, deeply psychological manipulation. And the terrifying truth is, this happens to you every single day. We are living in an environment of unprecedented complexity. To survive it, our brains have evolved to use mental shortcuts. We cannot analyze every single decision from scratch, so we rely on fixed action patterns. We hear a specific trigger, and our brain automatically plays a tape. Robert Cialdini, the godfather of influence, calls this the click or response. A mother bird hears the specific chirp of her baby, and click, she feeds it. Even if the baby is a parasitic cuckoo bird that has pushed her real eggs out of the nest. The trigger is the chirp. The response is feeding. In humans, the triggers are words like because, expert, or limited time. When we hear them, we comply without thinking. For years, Cialdini wanted to understand how the compliance practitioners, the salespeople, the marketers, the con artists, the fundraisers, were exploiting these psychological triggers. So, he went undercover. He spent 3 years infiltrating car dealerships, telemarketing firms, fundraising organizations, and advertising agencies. He learned their scripts, he studied their tactics, and he distilled their secrets into 6 universal principles of persuasion. Today, we are going to dive deep into these 6 principles. We will uncover the hidden psychological levers that control your behavior, and more importantly, we will learn how to defend yourself against them so you can take back control of your mind. The first principle is reciprocity. The rule is simple: we feel obligated to give back to others what they have given us. This rule is so deeply ingrained in human culture that it is the foundation of all civilization. It allows us to share resources, build networks, and trust strangers. But compliance practitioners know that this rule can be weaponized. Consider the Hare Krishna Society in the 1970s. They were struggling to raise money at airports. People would actively avoid them. Then, they discovered the power of reciprocity. They started handing out flowers to people walking through the terminal. "Here, this is a gift for you," they would say. The unsuspecting traveler would take the flower. A few steps later, a second Krishna member would approach and ask for a donation. Suddenly, the traveler felt a massive, uncomfortable sense of obligation. They had received a gift. To relieve the psychological tension, they would give a donation, and then quickly throw the flower in the nearest trash can. They didn't want the flower, they just wanted to discharge the debt of reciprocity. But the most dangerous application of reciprocity is not just giving a gift, it is the rejection then retreat technique, also known as the door in the face. Imagine a Boy Scout asks you to buy $5 worth of circus tickets. You say no. Then he says, "Well, if you don't want the tickets, would you at least buy a $1 chocolate bar?" You suddenly feel compelled to say yes. Why? Because the Boy Scout made a concession. He retreated from $5 to $1. The rule of reciprocity dictates that when someone makes a concession to you, you must make a concession in return. You concede to the chocolate bar. The salesperson uses this exact tactic. They ask for a massive price, you refuse, and then they retreat to a smaller request, which was their actual goal all along. To defend against this, you must recognize the tactic. If the initial offer was a trick, you don't owe them a concession. You can simply walk away. The second principle is commitment and consistency. Human beings have a deep, almost obsessive desire to be, and to appear, consistent with what we have already said or done. Once we make a choice or take a stand, we encounter personal and interpersonal pressures to behave consistently with that commitment. This is a useful shortcut, but it can trap us in irrational behavior. During the Korean War, the Chinese successfully brainwashed American prisoners of war to collaborate with them. They didn't use torture, they used consistency. They would ask the prisoners to write down minor, seemingly harmless statements. The United States is not perfect. Capitalism has some flaws. Once the prisoner wrote it down, the Chinese would ask them to read it to a group. Then, they would ask them to write an essay on the topic. Each step was a small, voluntary commitment. The prisoner would tell themselves, "I wrote this because I believe it." By the end of the war, many prisoners had completely internalized the propaganda, not because they were forced, but because they had built a ladder of small commitments that led them to that conclusion. In everyday life, this is the foot-in-the-door technique. If a researcher wants you to put a massive, ugly, "drive carefully" sign on your front lawn, they won't ask you directly. You will say no. Instead, they will ask you to sign a harmless petition about safe driving. 2 weeks later, they will ask you to put the sign on your lawn. Because you already committed to the cause by signing the petition, your brain wants to remain consistent. You are 3 times more likely to agree to the massive sign. The most powerful commitments are those that are active, public, and require effort. If you want to change your own behavior, do not just think about it. Write it down. Tell your friends. Make it public. Your desire to look consistent to others will become the engine that drives your success. But beware of the traps. If you feel trapped by a past decision that no longer makes sense, have the courage to say, "In light of what I know now, I was wrong." Do not let the ghost of a past commitment dictate your future. The third principle is social proof. When we are uncertain about what to do, we look to others to guide our behavior. We assume that if everyone else is doing it, it must be the right thing to do. This is why restaurants seat you near the window to make it look busy. This is why television shows use canned laughter. It triggers our brain to think, "Other people find this funny, so I should too." This is why charities show a list of previous donors before asking for your money. But social proof can lead to catastrophic failures, most notably in the bystander effect. In 1964, a young woman named Kitty Genovese was attacked and murdered outside her apartment in New York. The media reported that 38 people watched from their windows and did nothing. The public was horrified. How could people be so apathetic? But the psychological reality is much more complex. When you are in an emergency alone, you know exactly what to do: call for help. But when you are in a crowd, everyone is looking at everyone else to see how to react. Because everyone is trying to look calm and collected, everyone assumes that nothing is wrong. This is called pluralistic ignorance. To use social proof effectively, if you need help in a crowd, do not just yell, "Help." Point to a specific person and say, "You, in the blue jacket, call 911. Break the spell of pluralistic ignorance. And when you are making decisions, ask yourself, "Am I doing this because it is the right choice, or just because everyone else is doing it?" Do not let the crowd dictate your life. The fourth principle is liking. We are vastly more likely to say yes to people we like. This seems obvious, but the factors that cause us to like someone are highly specific and easily manipulated. Compliance practitioners use 4 main levers to make you like them: physical attractiveness, similarity, compliments, and contact and cooperation. We automatically assign positive traits like intelligence and kindness to attractive people. We also like people who are similar to us. This is why the car salesman asks you about your hobbies and where you are from. If you say you like golf, he will suddenly mention that he plays golf too. He is manufacturing similarity. Furthermore, we love compliments. Even if we know the person is lying, we still like them more when they praise us. The ultimate example of the liking principle is the Tupperware party. Tupperware revolutionized sales by moving the transaction out of the store and into the living room. When you go to a Tupperware party, you are not just buying plastic containers, you are buying them from a friend. The hostess has built a network of friendship. When she asks you to buy, you are not just responding to the product, you are responding to the social obligation of liking her. To defend against this, you must separate the person from the product. Ask yourself, if this exact same deal was offered to me by a stranger I didn't like, would I still take it? If the answer is no, you are being manipulated by the liking principle. The fifth principle is authority. We are conditioned from childhood to obey authority figures. Parents, teachers, police officers. This conditioning is so deep that it often overrides our own moral compass. In the famous Milgram experiment, ordinary people were willing to administer what they believed were lethal electric shocks to a stranger, simply because a man in a white lab coat told them to continue. In the real world, authority is often signaled by three things: titles, clothes, and trappings. A man in a tailored suit and a luxury watch is perceived as more authoritative and trustworthy than a man in a t-shirt. In a famous study, a man in a business suit jaywalked across a street. For times as many people followed him as when the same man did it wearing casual clothes. We blindly follow the uniform. Consider the tragic case of the Astor 10 experiment. A doctor called a hospital ward and ordered a nurse to administer 20 milligrams of a drug to a patient. The nurse knew the maximum safe dose was 10 milligrams. The drug was unauthorized, and the doctor was calling from an unknown number. By all hospital protocols, she should have refused. But because he used the title doctor and gave a direct order, half of the nurses in the study were willing to administer the fatal dose. To defend against authority, you must ask yourself two questions. First, is this authority truly an expert? Titles and clothes can be faked. Look for actual credentials. Second, how truthful can we expect this expert to be? Even a true expert might be biased if they are being paid to give you a specific recommendation. When you strip away the title and the uniform, evaluate the actual logic of their argument. The sixth and final principle is scarcity. The rule is simple: opportunities seem more valuable to us when their availability is limited. This is the forbidden fruit effect. When something becomes less available, we lose our freedom to have it, and we experience psychological reactance. We want it even more. In a famous experiment, researchers gave people a jar of 10 cookies, and another group a jar of only 2 cookies. The people with the 2 cookies rated them as significantly more delicious and desirable than the people with 10 cookies. The cookies were identical. The only difference was scarcity. Marketers use this constantly. Only 3 left in stock. Sale ends at midnight. Limited edition. These phrases trigger an immediate, emotional urgency. But scarcity is most powerful when it is combined with competition. If you are told there is only 1 house left on the block, you might not care. But if you are told there is only 1 house left, and 3 other buyers are looking at it tomorrow, your heart rate spikes. You suddenly need that house. Real estate agents and car salesmen use this to force you into a quick decision. They will tell you about another buyer who is coming to see the item later that day. They are manufacturing artificial scarcity to short-circuit your logical brain. To defend against this, remember that scarcity does not make an item better, it only makes it harder to get. If you are feeling a sudden rush of emotional urgency to buy something, stop. Take a breath. Ask yourself, do I want this because of its actual utility, or just because I might lose the chance to have it? As we conclude this deep exploration of influence, it is vital to understand that these 6 principles are not inherently evil. They are the glue that holds society together. Reciprocity builds trust. Consistency builds character. Social proof helps us navigate the world. Liking builds friendships. Authority maintains order. Scarcity helps us prioritize. The problem is not the principles themselves. The problem is the compliance practitioners who use them to exploit our automatic click or responses. They want you to react, not think. Your ultimate defense is to learn to recognize the physical signal of being manipulated. When you feel that sudden, unexplained shift in your emotions, a sudden sense of obligation, a sudden urge to be consistent, a sudden panic that you are missing out, that feeling is your alarm bell. It is your brain telling you that a psychological trigger has been pulled. When you feel that alarm, do not focus on the trigger. Focus on the actual merit of the offer. If someone gives you a free gift, do not focus on the gift, focus on whether you actually want to buy the product. If someone tells you time is running out, do not focus on the clock, focus on whether the product is actually worth your money. By separating the trigger from the decision, you disarm the compliance practitioner. You take back your power. You stop being a puppet reacting to strings, and you become a rational, conscious agent making choices that truly serve your best interests. Thank you for joining this deep dive into the psychology of persuasion. If this framework resonates with you, if it gives you the tools to see through the manipulation and protect your mind, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, you cannot control the triggers the world throws at you, but you can absolutely control how you respond to them. Go forth, recognize the click, whir, and take back your influence. If you enjoyed this book, please let me know in the comments. I'd also love to hear what book you'd like me to summarize next or what type of books you're interested in. Your suggestions help shape this channel, and I'll do my best to bring you the content you want. Thank you for subscribing to Raw Books. Your support means a lot.